What if I told you that the most dangerous criminal mastermind on the planet right now isn't a hacker, a Wall Street shark, or a Bond villain, but a 3-foot-tall green owl who will haunt your dreams, gaslight your emotions, and potentially kidnap your family? All because you forgot to learn how to say "the horse eats an apple" in Spanish today? Welcome to the high-stakes, high-anxiety, and strangely addictive world of Duolingo, the app that turned boring grammar into a psychological hunger game, with over 500 million people checking their phones like a text from a toxic ex. Back in the day, if you wanted to learn a language, you'd sit in a dusty classroom with a teacher named Mrs. Higgins. She smelled like mothballs while you stared at a textbook until your brain turned into mush. But Luis von Ahn, the genius behind Duolingo, looked at that and said, "What if we make learning a language feel exactly like playing Candy Crush, but with more passive-aggressive guilt trips?" And boy, did it work. The core of the Duolingo logic is something psychologists call gamification, but I like to call it dopamine dealing for nerds. The first hit is the streak. That little flame icon is the most powerful weapon in human history. Once you hit a 30, 100, or God forbid, 1,000-day streak, you are a prisoner of the sunk cost fallacy. You could be at your own wedding or in the emergency room, but you will still find 30 seconds to translate "the cat is under the table," all just so that little number doesn't reset to 0. Because if it hits 0, you feel like your entire identity has been deleted. Duolingo knows humans hate losing things more than we love winning them, and they use that loss aversion to keep us clicking. Then there's the owl himself, Duo, the bird that never sleeps. Most apps send you a notification saying, "Hey, come back." Duolingo sends one that says, "These reminders don't seem to be working. We'll stop sending them for now." That is the ultimate digital guilt trip. It's the "I'm not mad, It makes you feel like you've personally offended a cartoon bird. Suddenly, you're frantically conjugating verbs at 11:59 p.m. to save Duo from a deep existential depression. And let's talk about the leagues. Why on earth do I care if Skater Boy 2004 earns more XP in the Diamond League than I do? I don't know him. He lives in a different time zone. But because there's a leaderboard and a shiny badge, our primitive primate brains go into must-win mode. We aren't even focused on the language anymore. We're just grinding easy lessons at 2 a.m. to stay in the top 10. We've turned learning into a blood sport, where the prize is a digital trophy that can't even buy a cup of coffee. But wait, it gets worse. Or 춘계푼, depending on your sanity. The hearts system. This is where Duolingo turns into a literal casino. If you make too many mistakes, you lose your hearts and have to pay to keep playing. It creates this artificial scarcity that makes you want it even more. It's a genius business model. They give you the education for free, but they charge you for your own stupidity. They've built an empire where we pay money just to stop being annoyed by the very game we chose to play. We're living in an era where attention is currency, and Duolingo is the world's most efficient tax collector. They've cracked the code on making us feel productive when we're really just chasing digital dopamine hits. You might have a 500-day streak in Japanese, but in Tokyo, you'd probably only be able to say, "the boy is a lawyer," right before getting hit by a bus because you were too busy checking Duo's notifications. So, as you sit there sweating because your phone just vibrated, ask yourself, are you actually becoming bilingual? Or have you just been successfully hacked by a green bird? Is it a tool for self-improvement? Or is it just the world's most polite form of digital slavery? If you finish the entire Spanish tree, will you be able to order a taco? Or will you just stare at the waiter waiting for 5 stars? The future of education isn't in a classroom. It's in a screen that knows exactly how to hurt your feelings to make you smarter. Are you ready to do your lesson now? Or do I need to call Duo and tell him you're being difficult again? Remember, In the world of Duolingo, the only thing more permanent than your streak is the fear of losing it.